go number 8. I'm going to start out with 6, and then I'll shift to 8 as I'm rolling. Then I shift. Well, hey guys, today I thought we'd do a video on the John Deere 3010. We just did one on the 4010 a few days ago, and boy, it's been hot though this week. We had like 85 degrees every single day. It's October 12th. It's kind of been a really hot fall, but so I'm still in a t-shirt, even though usually I'm like in a jacket this time of year. But so here's our 3010. This one has the hayride on it right now, so we'll have to unhook that so we can take it for a drive. So you can see all the dust in the grills here. It's been just, it hasn't rained probably in, I mean, it hasn't rained for real. We've had little drops and things from a few little clouds, but it hasn't rained for real probably in 4 or 5 months. So everything's so really dusty out here. So the tractor's eating a lot of dust right now. And like I said, we have it hooked onto our hayride, and our hayride is for our big corn maze festival we hold every fall through the month of September and October. So that kind of leads me into the why we bought this tractor and how that came to be. So we bought this tractor, this John Deere 3010, about 4 years ago. So we haven't had it so long, but we've had it long enough to know quite a bit about it now. We've used it quite a bit. And when I bought it, it came out of I don't know that farming area south of Denver, Colorado, but there's a big farming area in there where they did a lot of row crop work and vegetable and fruit farming. Anyway, so when we got this tractor, the front wheels were as narrow as they could be, and the back wheels were as wide as they could be. So it kind of looked funny. It almost looked like a tricycle tractor, except not really. It kind of looked like a tractor with training wheels on the front. I don't know, it just looked funny. But they had it set that way because I guess they were running their different row sizes for whatever they were doing. I have no idea what they were growing, but maybe it was who knows, cotton for all I know. But anyway, so the wheels had been set that way since the tractor was new, I believe, because if you look at the wheels now, they're in line with each other. They're set at 6-foot rows, which is what we use on this farm for our row crops, potatoes and corn and all those different things, and onions. But anyway, the wheels have been set that way since I think it probably arrived. This tractor came from the original farmer, and we know that the wheels are probably set that way because the front axles, we moved them out. But that was one of the biggest chores we've ever done on a tractor, is trying to move these axles out, because they are basically all rusted in there solid. But we worked at it a long time. We got them all loosened up and repainted and everything. The farmer that sold it to us, you know, he kept real good care of it. I think it must have been inside, because I don't know if this is the original paint, but it might have only had maybe one paint job, but it could be the original paint. I don't know. It looks really good, and it looked really good. That's why we wanted it. But the other reason we wanted it was it had, I believe it was like 1,700 original hours on it. And maybe one of the reasons for that is because it's a gas model, as you can see here on the carburetor. And a lot of our tractors are diesel, of course, you know, but, and to be honest, I was kind of a little bit wondering if we should get a gas model or not. But one of the reasons we decided to do that was because of this hayride that it was going to be running every fall. And a lot of times we're hiring temporary staff, temporary employees and stuff. and they don't know how to drive the equipment very good, and they don't know how to start it very good in the cold, and also they're starting and stopping it a lot. And so I thought the gas might come in handy in all of those reasons, that, you know, the people who don't know much about warming up a diesel engine and using the glow plugs and all the different things that go with it. You know, the gas one starts on a dime even in the cold, and it starts on a dime every time, and maybe it has good compression too. It's got low hours, you know. But so I thought, well, why don't we try the gas one out? And you know, I was reading on these 3010s and the 4010s, and the, you know, this was kind of some of the last gas tractors they made, but they got big cylinders in there. So I thought, well, maybe, you know, online you read and they say that it's like a gas pig and everything, but, you know, I don't know. It hasn't done that bad on fuel, to be honest, and maybe that's because it's real tight and it's got a really good engine. But anyway, we've been pretty happy with this 3010 so far, and so I would recommend going and getting a gas if you don't need to, you know, work the guts out of it. If you're trying to pull plows all day long, then maybe you want that diesel for the lugging. But the gas one, I have to say, is real handy for starting and stopping a lot and just utility work. So we really like that. It's a really healthy tractor, and it's very original. Like I said, this farmer put very few hours on it, and the hours that did go on it probably was just light work, like cultivating bean rows or whatever he was doing, and but really light work probably. And honestly, it surprised us when we got it here on the truck, because we kind of bought it sight unseen on the tractor house, but we kind of just took a gamble on it, and I have to say we turned out on this one pretty good. It's been a very reliable tractor so far, and we've had to do very few repairs to it. But there are some things just from age alone. I mean, this tractor, I believe, is a 1960. Well, let's look at the serial plate number. Maybe that'll tell us what it is back here. And it's 43,482. Well, you can see that. Boy, it's hard to get that thing to show up. Anyway, 43,482. So it's probably a 1963. It's getting probably on the latter end of the production, so it's one of the later ones. Anyway, so there's a serial tag. It's on the back there underneath the hydraulic, auxiliary hydraulic there. So this gas one, probably a little bit different than the diesels, but I would say there's probably more similar about it all than is different. And one of the repairs we did have to do on it when we first got it, and let me come around the other side here, you can see it better, is that right in here is the coupler between the engine and the hydraulic pump up front here. And so when we first got it, like I said, this tractor was really original. So it had the original metal bushing coupler, and it had like shims and stuff. But anyway, it, you know, if you read online about those, they made a lot of noise, and after they wore out, and it didn't take them long to wear out either. So that one, when we got it, was making a lot of noise, and again, maybe that could be from age, from just some rust getting in there and causing trouble. But it was making a lot of noise, and we put this replacement one on there that they use on the 3020s, and it's been sounding real good now ever since. So we haven't had any trouble there. And that's pretty much it on the what we've done to it since we bought it. I mean, we might have replaced a wire. I can't remember. It would have been 4 years ago now, but basically we just moved the tires out and set them correctly for our row size, and then we just changed that coupler on the hydraulic so it would quiet down. And well, I guess we did our services. We went through and we changed all the oils, and we changed all the hydraulic oil as well. and the hydraulic filter, which is down here. And we also checked on the hydraulic screen, which is inside that plug right there. So we did do all the servicing on it, went through it, and just made sure everything was looking good. Well, I guess there's one more thing I did. The muffler there had the what do you call the exhaust cap? It was just right here. It was just short, like original, how they came, but I don't like eating exhaust all day, so I put a little extension on there, and I thought it looked just fine to have that on there. I think all the 3020s mostly have that anyway. So that keep the exhaust out of your face. One other thing about these 3020s you ought to know, if you since we worked so hard on setting the wheels, is just that they have these rack and pinions on these 30, well, a lot of them, 3010, the 10 series and the 20 series. And one of the things, like I said, it hadn't been moved, so this thing right here was really seized up, and everything was really seized up, but we got it all off there. We worked it with the you know, the cutting torch heat and the oils and the air wrench. So we just worked them and worked them and worked them, and we just took our time, and we were patient with it, and pretty soon everything started cracking loose and coming apart, and it just took a lot of energy. But big job, but we got it so that everything was okay. Now that we're kind of talking about the tractor a little bit more here and all the different pieces to it, I'll just start with our tire size. On the front we have a good row crop tire here, pretty standard. It's a 750 16, and you can see it right there. Hopefully the sun's so bright today. Oh, it's been hot. And then on the back here we have a fairly good tire for the row crop. It's a, you know, you don't see these as much anymore, but it's a 14.938. I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, so it's, I really like the size of tires on here. I think it makes it look correct. It's got a good balanced look to it all, and it pretty much can do everything. Go down our rows, pull the hayride, you know, so we're pretty happy with that. And just show you what's back here. So it's really the 3010 and the 4010, you know, they're really similar, and I suppose they should be. They were basically came out of the same engineering sessions with the at that time for the new generation series. So one of the things that they have here, of course, the 3-point hitch, and we don't have the top link on right now. You can see the pin right there, but normally on this one we have a hydraulic top link that pins in there, and then the hydraulic hoses plug into the auxiliary right here, and that's really handy. So this tractor here only has one auxiliary hydraulic. Of course some of them have two, but this one's only got one. But it hasn't been a problem for us for the things we use it for, and all the things are moving. They're all been greased, and oh, so those are all adjustable. It's in real good shape on this one. And then down here we have our 3-point arms, and we even have these spring-loaded things where the arms pull out, and they're all in good shape too, in working order. I've never used them. I probably never will, but it's one of those things that they thought was pretty cool at the time, and I guess it is kind of cool, but I've never used them. I just, you know, after a while you get so good at backing the stuff up, you just back it right on. You don't need all the extra stuff much to help you. You just get good at it. And then we got our tongue there hooked onto the trailer, and that's pretty nice. It just has a pin underneath there that releases it. It's pretty quick to take the tongue on and off these tractors. And then we have our PTO there, and we got our PTO cover that just goes on here if you need it to, and it just stores on the back. And this one still has the original PTO shield there. I guess we have these on here. It's meant to be a step too, I should suppose. I've never used it that way. And then on here we have the handy dandy John Deere sway blocks, which we use quite a bit. They're all working. We use those a lot for making sure stuff stays rigid on the row. Like if we are running the drip tape machine or the cultivators or the planters, we want them to plant exactly where we want them to plant. We don't want them swaying around. And so those sway blocks have a few little adjustments on them where you can try to lock up your arms from moving around like that, so it pushes them out or pushes them in. Anyway, so those are there. Then we got the original light up here, and if you look up here, we have a toolbox in here. I never used this one, it's for some reason, but it's there anyway. And we have one of these other toolboxes that John Deere had at the time. Seems like we have one of these on every tractor we have, but this one I just find a lot more handy. I just always use that one. And then right now we got the radio on here for the hayride to talk to the people, give them a little tour of the farm. So that's kind of the back side here. You know, one more thing before we get up on the tractor. And by the way, we have a another step here that's specially made for my 80-year-old dad. He's got a second step so he can get up on the tractor more easy there. So we really like having those because it's hard to get up off on these original steps. I think the original steps on the other side. Yep, there it is. Anyway, it's quite a ways off the ground, so it's hard to get your leg way up here on it, especially for somebody who's older or maybe not as athletic anymore. But another thing you'll notice here is that this tractor, a little bit different than the 4010 diesel, and I should think the 3010 diesel would have the same thing as our 4010 diesel, but this one only has one battery box and it's on the right side, and that's by design for the gas model specifically, because you know there's none here and there never was. You can see the original mounting holes that have never been used, but I guess for the gas models they don't need all that cranking power. They just start right up pretty easy, so they only needed one battery. And I have to say that's helpful because the dual battery system is a bit of a pain sometimes. But this is the original battery box. You can see it's just rusting out just a little bit right here, so we'll have to look at that eventually, but for now anyway it's working pretty good. So anyway, up here we got a better looking seat than on our 4010, and it's got the same adjustments on it for tall and small. Well, it says short, tall and short, and it slides along this rail under here, and it can adjust so that your legs can reach the pedals. And so up here now, it's this 3010, very similar to the 4010. And so here on this side, we start out, we have the PTO lever, and if you look at it there, it's right here. And this is one thing I'm not as big a fan of on the 3010. I mean, I do love the 3010 and the 4010, but this lever they moved to the other side over here on our 2510, and I think on the 3020s and the 4020s they moved it over here. And then of course even later on those production they moved them over here by your seat like the International has. But anyway, to start out with, they had it over here, and it always gets in your way and trips you up every time you're coming on and off the tractor. So a lot of times what we've done is we just turn the thing on, especially if we're getting on and off a lot, just turn the thing on and get it out of the way. And then we have that shield back there that you can put over the PTO so nobody gets caught on it. Not that they should, but you never know, you know. So then here we got our steering wheel. And our steering wheel has a spinner on it, as we like to be able to turn fast and sharp at the ends of rows or with whatever we're doing. And so then over here we have, talk about this first, we got the hand throttle. And the hand throttle is really good for setting the engine RPM at a more steady rate, especially if you're doing work in the field. You want to get things a little bit more uniform and more steady for the speeds, and so they can match up to whatever speed you're choosing down here on the transmission. And then so that's kind of what that hand throttle is for. And then down here we have the foot pedal, and the foot pedal of course is a lot easier to use, kind of like a car. So you know, if you're traveling around a lot or you're moving around more irregularly, then like a car, that's kind of what that's for, and that works really good. And then on the dash here we have the 3-point lift up and down, which controls the arms back there. And usually when we have the trailer, I like to leave them all the way down or all the way up, just so if you turn sharp, it clears the trailer hitch. Okay, and then I guess the former owner put a sticker on here that says PTO, but that's definitely not where the PTO's at. That should have the 3-point sticker on it for the arms, but that's okay. Everybody trying to do the best they can these days. And here is for that auxiliary hydraulic on the back to run a hydraulic cylinder of your choosing. And then right here you kind of see this cover. That's an original cover, and so this tractor came that way from the factory, that doesn't have the second one. But I suppose that they sell kits, or maybe they did, or I don't know. Probably you could add a second one if you needed to. Oh, not something I want to do today though. So, and then up here we also have this little light right here that lights up your dash at night. I think that one works for us. And then right here, of course, we have your RPM gauge, your engine speed, and also have your hours there. And I think in the last few years we've put some hours on it, but all those hours mostly are hayride hours. You know, we're open 13 hours a day, and this tractor's running pretty much that whole time for 2 months straight. Anyway, so it puts a lot of hours on it, but they're light hours, so I think this tractor's going to last a long time. Of course, we got the fuel gauge, which is working, and we got our temperature gauge, which is working. We got 2 lights here too, and this one works when the turns red when the battery gets low. I can't remember what this other one's supposed to do. And then of course we have our little thing here to help tell you what, if your RPM gauge is working good, then it'll tell you roughly there where your mile per hour is, for helping to set your work speed based on the gear there. Alright, the last thing on the dash here is the transmission, and it's a lot like the 4010 where it has the 4 different sections. And I guess all these new series, new generation tractors have something similar like this, but they're all a little bit different too, because you get into the 3020s and the 4020s, you know, they no longer, like on the original sticker here, they would show the reverse for number 7, which it did on the 4010 video, and this is obviously a new sticker, but the new stickers are supposed to go on the 3020s and the 4020s because they didn't show that reverse anymore, as if they didn't want people using it. But it's still there, so that's kind of a cool little trick for people who know about their tractor. They get to have some extra gears. And I've even heard that there's a gear in the 6 and 8, a reverse all the way down in the 6 and 8 if you cut out the sheet metal there. I don't really have a need for a reverse that fast, so I'm probably not going to ruin this original tractor just to do that, but it is cool sometimes to use that high reverse on the number 7. But anyway, so these gears are all there. We got 1 and 3 and 2 and 5, 4 and 7, 6 and 8. And these slower ones here for your different field works, really. And these faster ones are more for traveling. And 6 and 8 especially is for the travel. And then, so that's that. And this transmission on this one's real tight. Some of them get a little loose, like on our 2510. We'll have to do a video on that one. It's got a lot of hours on it, and it's kind of a loose goose there, so we'll have to show you that one. But this one shifts very, very rigid and very tight. And you really gotta mean it when you shift it. Shift it like a man. Right? So there's the transmission. If we just go down a little here, we have the choke for the gas model, the key, lights. That's not the original knob on that one, but it's got a 2-position switch for the front lights and the back lights. And then it even has the original cigarette lighter, which maybe that would come in handy to start a fire if you're freezing to death. It even has a button here for I'm guessing starting fluid, but I can't see a reason that we would ever use that. But I don't know. That probably is what it would have been for, but I don't know on that one. Maybe if you guys know that button, if you've seen it, it looks original to me. Okay, so that's kind of the dash. So we're ready to take this tractor for a drive. I think I'm just gonna unhook the trailer here for a minute before we do that, so that we can drive it around without worrying about hauling this big trailer around. So I'll see you in just a minute here. And I got the key here too, which I didn't have a minute ago. And there's the key to the John Deere. It's kind of a funny looking key, but I like it. I just like these. I love these tractors, you know, these old original tractors. So we'll make sure it's in park, and then we'll just put the throttle just up just a little bit, and put our clutch in there, and then make sure our choke's in. I don't think we need it today. It's 85 degrees out here. So here it goes. Oh, that's pretty good. Hasn't been started in a week or two. We haven't been using this second hayride. We've been using the 2010 on the hayride. So there we go. Sounds a little different than the diesel, huh? But works pretty good. It's got a lot of power for what it is. It's got big cylinders in there. Okay. Let's go for a ride here. Let's go push our clutch in, and we'll go to gear number 1, and see if we're unhooked here. Yeah, we look good. My hydraulic oil is a little cold. So we're gear number 1. Moves pretty slow, huh? Yeah. So try gear number 2. Number 2. A little bit faster there. And you know, most of these gears, they're not much different than the other, because they're to help you, they're really for the working speeds. They're to help you select the right speed for your work. So they just go up a mile or 2 an hour on each gear, maybe even just a mile an hour. Number 4. Here we'll go for a drive out in the other field here. Number 5. Alright. How about number 6? 7. And get it in there. Alright, we're number 7. Well, that one's pretty fast. I really like gear number 7 for moving around on the farm, just about everywhere. I really only use gear number 8 when I'm going down a road that's almost paved, there doesn't have many bumps. So we'll use gear number 8. I'm just going to go over here to this other road that's flat. Take it for a ride. Show you, we got nothing on the back right now, just some tires. Alright, number 8. Got a straight little road here. Let's go number 8. I'm going to start out with 6, and then I'll shift to 8 as I'm rolling. I'm going to shift. It's real fun driving them, especially when you're going fast. Alright, let's bring her back over to the shop there. Tractor, you know, some people think the gas tractors don't have much oomph to them. They don't have that torque. But I would just tell you that I didn't know if they did either. But ever since I've had this tractor, I really like the gas tractors that John Deere made at that time, because we had a tractor stuck in the mud. It was a diesel actually. It had the grain drill behind it stuck in the mud too. And anyway, we hooked this thing onto it, and it didn't even blink. It just started pulling. It didn't even bog down. Just started pulling. Pulled that sucker right out of the mud. So I'm very, very pleased with this gas John Deere tractor that we bought. And I would recommend to anybody to buy it. It might be a little harder on the fuel, you know, if you're going to be working it all day out in the field, but I don't know, it's awful handy for starting, especially in the winter and in the cold. It's really, really handy for that, I tell you. Let me just pull over here and park it, and alright. Well, that's it for this video on the John Deere 3010. Really love this tractor and hope you guys enjoyed it too. And if you guys have any questions on the 3010 I could try to answer for you, or anything you want to know about it, I'd love to try to answer those for you in the comments. And we will see you on the next video. Have a great weekend, you guys.